Network error, of course. Sorry, I was trying to do something like yesterday and it just failed on me. Okay, let's see here. Before we get started, we are live. Today we're checking out the new set, Kaldhiem, to see what it's all about. See what kind of cards we get. I've got 4,000 gold, so I'm going to buy some packs. But over and above that, I think there's a play Kaldhiem you can use to get, I think it's 3 free packs. But we'll take a look and see what we can find. But I figured, hey, what's more than let's go forth and get some packs of cards and stuff along those lines. So let's go to the store. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if anybody's watching this, we should be able to enter in play. Let's see, play Kaldhiem and success. I can only do this once, but it gives you 3 packs of Kaldhiem. So I think that's pretty cool. But we're going to go back and we're going to buy some packs as well here. The new set. So it hasn't left, like the last set here is Thrones that you can play in standard online arena. So we're going to buy a couple more packs of these. We're going to use up all our gold for today. And we're going to sit here and we're going to open up the packs and see what we can get, and then we'll go take a look through the ones we don't get in the way of cards and just do a quick run through of the set, and I'll see if there's any cards in it that I really want to get. Like I know there's a new bird or a new flying creature in here that I thought was really cool. It's a 1 or 2 drop bird. That would be kind of cool to have, but I figured, hey, let's go forth and open up some packs of cards online and show off a new set and see what these are all about. No time like the present. Let's get it going here. So we have, whenever you cast your second spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Infernal Pet, and it gains flying until end of turn. This one here is a zombie cleric. Boast. What is Boast? Boast is a new activation. So activate this ability if this creature attacks this turn and only once each turn. That's kind of interesting. So it's a new part of the game is Boast. Evoke the Divine, destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 4 life. Exile artifact or creature. Its controller gets a +1/+1 blue bird creature token with flying. What is Foretell? Foretell. During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it later on in your turn for its Foretell cost. So that's another new term in the game. It's kind of interesting. This one here, Rune of Speed. It's an enchant permanent. When Rune of Speed enters the battlefield, draw a card. As long as an enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+0 and has haste. As long as the enchanted permanent is equipped, it has equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. Okay. And we have a new counterspell. Costs 3 though, but you got a Foretell side of it. During your turn, you may pay 2, exile this card from your hand face down, cast it later on for its Foretell cost. So then it could turn out to be a 2-card counterspell down the road. Not too bad. So let's see what our rare is. It's King Nif's Betrayal. Each player mills 4 cards. Then you may exile a creature from exile a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard. Until end of turn, you may cast a spell from among cards exiled with the Betrayal, and you may spend mana through. You may Spend mana as though it were mana of any color cast of those spells. Interesting. Okay. So that's pack number 1. So we're only going to do... We're going to show off the cards that come up and say first. Just because there's no point in reiterating the cards that come up. Because the common cards seem to come up a little bit more often. Like here we have all first again. And we'll just keep going through. We have a Giant Ox. Giant Ox crews vehicles using its toughness rather than its power. Interesting. Dread Rider. It's a 3/7. Costs 6 to bring out. Costs 1 black, 1 colorless. Tap it. Exile a creature from your graveyard. Target opponent loses 3 life. An expensive version of a Tim, which is a particle sorcerer. Okay, the Sentinel here has got reach. Tap it. Tap it. An untapped creature you control. Add mana of any color. I don't know if that would really come in handy, other than its reach ability in that. Struggler is a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. That creature fights up to 1 creature you don't control. Or you can do Foretell, which is basically, like we said earlier, during your turn you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down, cast it, and later on with the Foretell cost, so it actually would be less. So one turn you pay 2 colorless, the next turn you, or the same turn, it would cost 3 to bring it instead of 2. I don't know if that really is good or bad in the game. King Harold's Revenge. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control and gains trample. It must be blocked this turn if able. That's a card I want in one of my decks. That is so cool. Think about this one. If you had it, I guess you could do this in Modern right now, because I don't know if Fling is available in any other, or you can do it in Historic. But playing this card on it, like if you've got a bunch of tokens out, or a bunch of creatures or whatever you have out, and by chance you play this and you fling it at somebody, what do you think? Think of the amount of damage you could do. You trample over them first, and then you throw it at them at the end of the turn. I think that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so there we go. I don't know what happened to the screen there, but hey. Forging the Trite Sword. Create a treasure token for the first 2 turns, and then search your library card for Hovlar God of Battle or an equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Interesting. The 3 Seasons. So the last 2 sets I've noticed has been related to a lot of mill cards. This one's another one here, mill 3 cards, and then step 2 is return up to 2 target snow permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So snow has come back in this set. Snow-covered lands and things along those lines is something that is new back in this set. Snow-covered lands was back in, I believe, Ice Ages. So they've brought back snow-covered lands again to be used, I believe, in this set. But I haven't seen any yet, but hopefully we'll see some in some of these packs. But for now, and the last step here is choose 3 cards from your graveyard. Their owner shuffles their cards into their library. Interesting. And what do we have? We have a Bloodsky Sire. He's got Death Touch. He's got Boast. Activates his ability only once if the creature attacks his turn. Target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts it into on the top of it. So it's a demonic tutor, or something along those lines. Ones that you would get, and then I guess it would work good if you had this. You search your library and then you had a draw card, or you search your library just before your turn and your next card is that card that you're looking for. which is kind of cool. As long as somebody's not playing mills on you, mill deck on you, should be fine. Let's take a look here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna sneeze, I think. Okay, we're back. Ooh, so there is snow-covered land in here. I think that's kind of cool. So we're gonna start same one's direction to the from left to right again. Well, we get a Hellbringer. Tap to add blue. Spend this mana to only cast foretell a card from your hand or cast an instant or sorcery spell. Okay, it's an expensive Llanowar Elf. In that sense. Or a limited Llanowar Elf. But it does blue instead of green. Okay, so we have a Thought Thief. When Thought Thief enters the battlefield, look at the top card of your target player's library. You may put that card into their graveyard. So it's a miniature mill card. Rise the Drugger. Choose one. Cost 2. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Or return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. So a creature type. I guess it'd be zombies. Humans. Okay, here we go. When Code Spell Cleric enters the battlefield, it was the second spell you cast this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it's a cheap vigilance card, which is kind of cool. Cost 1 to bring out. It's a 1/1 creature. And just think, if you have 2 or 3 of them in here, that you can bump these guys up pretty quickly. So they do, and I like how they've created these ones. Alpine Meadow, it's common, so they did come out with new snowlands. It's a mountains plains, it's a dual land. I think it's kind of cool looking. I don't know about anybody else, but it's snowland, mountain plain. It's not basic land and that sort of thing, it's a snowland. So I guess there's a lot of snow related cards in this set. I've only seen one so far, but at least the land is there. Let's see here. Bloodline Pretender. It's an artifact creature shapeshifter. It's a changeling. This creature is every creature type. As Bloodline Pretender enters the battlefield, chooses creature type. Whenever another creature of that chosen type enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodline Pretender. That's kind of cool. So technically, if you put him in, say, a goblin deck or a rat deck or an elf deck or something along those lines, and yeah, every time you play those certain cards or an elemental deck, he gets a +1/+1 counter on him. That's kind of cool. That might be something I look into adding to decks down the road, possible. And we have another one here. It's a Battershield Warrior. Human Warrior, costs 3 to bring out. It's got the boast cost of 2. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Terribly sorry. That looks like a kind of cool Human Warrior. It doesn't cost too much to bring out. 3 is not too bad. But let's take a look and see what our rare is. Okay, so it's a legendary creature god. God of Kinship. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, this creature gets +4/+2 and has vigilance. Interesting. Look at the top. Activation cost of 2 and tap it. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest of them on the bottom of it in random order. or it can be cast the legendary artifact side of it. And the crest enters a battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap to add a green, spend this mana to cast a creature or chosen legendary creature spell. Interesting. That's kind of a cool green card. I think green might be something that I start getting into more with this new set, because there's been some decent cards so far, and I've only opened up 3 packs of cards. I think that's kind of neat so far. Let's take a look at their next pack here. We have a champion here, Gold Mao champion. Its most cost is tap 2, tap target creature. Not too bad. Green here, Snakeskin Veil. Put +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains hexproof till end of turn. So that's not too bad. It gives creatures hexproof. Here we have Breakneck Berserker. It has haste. It's a 3/2 creature. Costs 3 to bring out. It's a dwarf berserker. I don't usually use dwarfs. I rather use things like goblins or something along those lines. Here's the next snow card. So this is our second snow related card. Enchant Land. It says enchanted land is snow. Whatever really that means. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. That's kind of cool. I like that. I wouldn't mind, like that. That allows you to get a little bit more mana faster, even though it costs 3 to bring out. But still, if you have that big creature, it costs 6 or 8 to bring out, and you want to make a game changer out of it, there's a card that might help you. Open the Omen Paths. Choose 1. Add 2 mana of one color and 2 mana of another color. Spend this mana to cast a creature or an enchantment spell. So, I guess it's because it costs 3 to bring out, but I guess, I don't know if it would be good to spend 3 to cast 4, but maybe it would be good to cast a bigger spell if you don't have the colors out you need to cast it in that. It might be helpful, might not be. Might be helpful to bring out a bigger creature or a creature faster on turn 3 than it would be on turn 4. Creatures, or you can do it, creatures control get +1/+0 until end of turn. That second part might come in handy if you have a lot of creatures out later in a game and you need the extra kicker to kill your opponent. Not sure. So we have a Doomstaker Titan. It's a giant berserker. When Doomstaker Titan enters a battlefield, creature you control get +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Or you can pay its foretell costs of 4 colorless and 1 red to cast it later in the game instead of its 6. Interesting. Okay. We have a Runeforge champion here. When Runeforge champion enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or graveyard for a rune card, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. You may pay 1 rather than the mana cost of the rune spells you cast. I don't recall seeing any rune spells as of yet, but let's get on to the next pack here. So we've got 3 more packs to go. I just wanted to do a quick run through of some of the new stuff today. In that sense, because it's a brand new set, let's get it out there and show it off to everybody and see what kind of cool cards there actually are in here. So I finally got my first double. So we have an Undersea Invader. It's flash. So you can cast it any time. You can cast it an instant. Undersea Invader enters the battlefield tapped. that defeats the purpose of having flash. I'm sorry. Yes, you can cast it any time, but I believe with it cast a cost of 6, it's a 5/6. I'd rather it the ability to be able to cast it anytime, but because it comes into play tapped, it defeats the purpose of having the ability of flash, I think. Raider's Carve? It's an artifact vehicle. When it attacks, look at the top of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it into the battlefield tapped. Crew 3. Tap any number of creatures you control with a power of 3 or more. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Okay. Kind of interesting. So here's the Pegasus. That's not the one that I was thinking of. But it is something that helps you bring out your artifacts and enchantment spells. Because with him out, your artifacts and enchantment spells cost 1 colorless less to cast. So technically, if you're running an artifact deck, in that sense, that would be helpful. Ooh, we have a new legendary snow creature, shapeshifter. It costs 5 to bring out, 2 blue, 1 green, and 2 colorless. You may have Ward of the Frost enter the battlefield as a copy of a permanent you control, except it's legendary. And snow in addition to its other types. And if it's a creature, it enters with 2 additional +1/+1 counters and has Changeling. Changeling, this creature is every creature type. So it gains abilities of other creatures. So if you had something that bumped up your goblins or your elves or something along those lines, having a card like that would be good to have in a deck. And we have an Elven Bow. Costs 1 to bring out. When Elven Bow enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 colorless. If you do so, create a +1/+1 green elf warrior creature token, then attach Elven Bow to it. Equipped creatures get +1/+2 and has reach. Oh, equipment cost of 3. So technically it equips itself automatically if you pay the 2 colorless to the token. That's pretty cool. And here's one of the new dual lands, either black or red, depending on what color you really need in a deck. Can't really say much. You can have one or the other in your on your battlefield and whatnot. It's not like a true dual land, but it is something that can help when you're stuck with a certain color. And lo and behold, it's not something that has the ability, like it doesn't come into play tapped, which is kind of a bummer, kind of a bonus. Okay, so we got 2 more packs to do, and we're going to end this video after we do the 2 packs. Actually, we're going to go scroll through some of the cards and see if there's anything of interest that I might want down the road. Just do a quick overview of what's there and what's not there. We have a Bogart, Brogart. It's a Dwarven Warrior. It's got the boast. It's a 3/3 creature. Boast cost of 2. Untap a creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. So if it attacks, you can untap it and put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it becomes a blocking creature for you. A stronger blocking creature. Sure. Okay, it's a green creature. This one says mill 3 cards, then return a land card and an elf card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. That's kind of interesting. So you're basically milling 3 cards, and if it comes across a land and an elf card show up on the 3 cards you mill, they go in your hand. So it's like a draw, But if you don't pull the two cards, like you don't pull the one card, actually it's a land card or an elf card from your graveyard. If you can't, you draw another card. Interesting. This one's a snow creature. It's in the zombie cleric, priest of the haunted edge. It's kind of cool. I like the drawing on this one. Sacrifice priest of the haunted edge. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of snowlands you control. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So it's on your turn. You can go forth and cast this, but I think that is kind of cool. Sacrifice it, but if you make a deck out of snowlands, I would assume that would become handy. Here's a sorcery that you can foretell again. Pay the 2 and then pay 2 more. It's like you're delaying the cast of something and you can surprise somebody. But when can you play foretell? During your turn, you can pay 2 and exile a creature. Your hand face down. From your hand face down, cast it later for its foretell cost. But with it being a sorcery, it's create 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature tokens. I guess I'll have to see it in play to see what it's all about. We have Woodland Chasm. Or Chaz. Yeah. It's another snowland. This one enters into play tapped, which is kind of a pain in the butt. These dual lands, like snowland, dual land, come into play tapped. It's kind of a delay in being able to use those cards. Vega the Watcher, legendary creature, bird spirit, costs 3 to bring out, 1 blue, 1 white, and 1 colorless. Whenever you cast this, it has flying, but whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. So if you're playing something from your graveyard or from the top of your deck, that might be helpful. Divine Gambit, exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment on an opponent controls. That player may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. Why would you play that? I'm sorry, but you're exiling a creature, artifact, or enchantment the opponent controls, and then he can put down whatever he wants. You only play that when he has nothing in his hand, would be the only way I would look at it. Hey, I got a gold wild card. I don't have much in the way of wild cards. I don't have any gold. I have a little bit of gems, but last pack. Let's see what we got in here. We got more duplicates. Here's one way down. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile a creature from your graveyard. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Okay. There's a new reach card, new spider. He's a 4/2, costs 3 to bring out, and yeah. This one here is another changeling. There's another shapeshifter. Costs 4 to bring out, 3 colors, 1 blue. When this creature enters the battlefield, if you control 3 or more creatures at the time, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, then scry 1. But it says it's a changeling. This creature has every creature type. Okay. Artifact equipment, Giant's Amulet. When Giant's Amulet enters the battlefield, you may pay 4. If you do, create a 4/4 blue giant wizard creature token, then attach the giant amulet to it. I guess because it only costs 1, possibility of having 5 land out when you cast it later in a game. And it also gives a player or permanent with hexproof can't be targeted of spells and abilities that your opponent controls. So this one also, equipped creature gets +0/+1, And this creature has hexproof as long as it's untapped. Okay, reasonable. We have as Ravager, a giant wizard. When this guy enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to target, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. So if you've gone forth and make a giant deck or something along those lines, or I guess a zombie deck or goblins probably, that might come handy. Think of how much damage you could do by just dropping this guy if you got a bunch of goblins out. In Search of Greatness, in this enchantment, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with a converted mana cost of 1 plus the highest converted mana cost among the permanents you control without paying its mana cost. If you don't, scry 1. Wow. That just... I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be playing green with this deck, because that one, literally, Search of the Greatness, cost 2 to bring out. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with converted mana cost of equal plus the one of the highest converted mana cost among your permanents you control without paying its mana cost. So I have a feeling either you're going to see a lot of board wipe decks, a lot of things being cast just because they're out there and that sort of thing, but in Search of Greatness, this card just kind of blows my mind when you look at it, and it's green. Yeah, I can see a lot of big green spells being cast later in a game because of this one spell. Like, you can go forth in your next turn, like if you had everything 3, 4, like every turn you can cast something without even paying its mana cost, have another creature, have another creature, have another creature, and every turn it's something bigger. So if you pulled, on turn 3, because of this card, you can have you can play a card that has 3 mana costs, and turn 4 it would be 4 mana costs, turn 5 mana costs, turn 6, and so on. It's crazy on how this one card, it's either gonna blow up the game, or it's going to make things kind of interesting, or it'll get banned really quickly in the game. So let's just do a quick rundown here, since we don't have a lot of the cards. We did pick up quite a few cards today, but there are quite a few that we don't have, and I'm sure there's lots of stuff in here that I should probably want or don't want, and that sort of thing down the road. Here are the cards that I have. Most of them I have one of the ones that are showing right now, and I'm only showing the new set at this stage of all the new cards that I've opened up today. But let's go in here. So the Snow-Covered Plains. So you could technically make a deck up of just snow-covered land. You don't have to do the dual lands. In here, I'm sure you're going to have to buy these cards in packs in the real life and that sort of thing, but in the game, you've got Snow-Covered Plains. You've got it looks like two different pictures in that for it. But this was the new bird that I was thinking about. Cost 1 to bring out, Battlefield Raptor. It's got flying first strike. You can't ask for anything more. It's a 1-drop. It's a new bird. It doesn't have lifelink on it, but it is still a 1-drop flying first strike creature. I thought was kind of cool in that sort of sense in regards to a new card, but I'm not going to go through. If I come across anything that I see that is really cool to look at, we'll take a quick glance on it and move on. I don't know. Maybe we should wait. So there seems to be some angels in here. There's new equipment. Yeah, there seems to be an awful lot of angel cards. There's an angel cleric. There's an angel cleric here. Angel warrior here. Destroy all creatures. It's another. Yeah, okay. That's what I kind of figured was going to happen. Where they were going to do a new destroy creatures. But there's got to be. Here's another one. Create sorcery. Create a 4/4 flying white angel warrior creature token with flying with vigilance. If the spell was foretold, create X for those tokens instead. So foretell is XX. So yeah, I can see that one being an interesting card. Foretell is during your team play 2 and exile a card from your graveyard from your hand face down. Playing these cards with the foretell costs, the exiling this, exiling that, it's going to be interesting. And I kind of figured with all these angels that are showing up here that there would be a creature card like this. Angel spells cost 2 less to cast. So when you're looking at some of these here are now going to cost 2 to bring out instead of costing 4. Or if there's a bigger one here, if there's any bigger, there's this one here costs just 2 white and that sort of thing to cast. I'm sure there might be bigger ones in here. Yep, there's a couple more bigger angel cards. So yeah, it's angels is another big one in this, other than the foretell. Something new with foretell, as well as we have snowlands. These are kind of cool. I like their the way they've created them. We get more birds, shapeshifters, changelings. There's a snow instant here. It says scry X, where X is the number of snow spent to cast the cost to draw 3 cards. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to figure out what snow is all about in this, because I don't have a clue what really was meant by that. Snow-covered land, I guess snow-covered land is going to tell you that it's snow. I don't know. But, yeah, it looks like I have a lot of work to do and getting some of these cards out and that sort of thing. I'm going to have to win some games to get some of these cards out to play. So we have Foretold and Boast is the 2 new. There's another one here. Choose one. Destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers. But I don't believe there's any planeswalkers in this that I've seen so far. But it would be helpful if you're playing against a planeswalker deck. But it looks like I have a lot of cards to uncover in this. There's quite a few that I don't have. And a lot of them are common, uncommon, and all that stuff. There's quite a few rares in here. See, this one here is helping your elves. Other elves get +1/+1, and you can tap it for add 3 more green, which is kind of cool. Oh, so there is a planeswalker. That's the first one I think I've seen. Elves you control have tap to add black. Put a +1/+1 counter on target elf, untap it, and indicates Death Touch till end of turn. Created 1/1 green elf creature token. -6 off it. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn, and you draw 2 cards. That's going to be one I'm gonna have to look into building more green decks, because that one there just makes things kind of interesting. And there's another legendary planeswalker. Shard tokens. Sacrifice this enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card. Tap 2, sacrifice it. Interesting. Okay. Oh, there's another planeswalker here. Exile target non-permanent, non-land permanent. You get an emblem at the beginning of your upkeep. Cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from cards of your own in exile without paying its casting cost. Interesting. Things are going to get kind of interesting when it comes to some of the stuff in here. So there's lots of snow lands, snow this, snow that. Few different multicolored dual lands and that sort of thing as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully some people start playing some of these cards over and above some of the landfall cards from the previous set, just to make things a little bit nicer to play. But I've seen a lot of right now in standard. I've seen a lot of people play with the mutate cards from, I believe it's from one of the later sets. It's mutate, and it just, I think mutate has somewhat destroyed standard at the moment, but I could be wrong. But that's, in a nutshell, the way I look at what we've got here. We're going to shut things down for now. I'll come back on in a little bit and go forth, and we'll show off maybe a deck that I can create. Maybe I can't create a deck yet. Maybe I'll just use what I have for standard or non-standard or whatever. I think I have a standard black deck that I could do some of these quests that I have to do today. But for now, because I want to get some more cards, I'd love to pick up more cards and that sort of thing from this set, just to see what's out there and what's available in that. But for now, that's it for this stream, or this video in that sense. We will catch you on the next time we're out and about. Hope you guys enjoy.